Cowboys are back in primetime tonight. Monday Night Football against the Chargers, looking to bounce back from that big loss last week to the 49ers. Joining me with a preview is our friend, Locked On Cowboys podcast host, Landon McCool. And good morning to you, Landon. First off,
good morning, Megan.
Yes, thank you for joining us. The Cowboys didn't have a great game last week.
No.
How does Dak specifically get the offense going again, especially in that red zone?
Yeah, I think that they need to get the run game going a little bit. That's part of the issue that I think happened with San Francisco is that they didn't have any kind of traction with the run game, and it made throwing the football very difficult in tight windows. And even when they were able to get the ball off, it felt like they were dumping it low, and 49ers were coming down quickly to make tackles, and there just wasn't a lot of room to operate. So I think the Cowboys have got to find a way to generate big plays on early downs, like not be afraid to take shots down the field, open things up underneath for your running game and for your short passing game, because if teams are just going to play tight near the line of scrimmage, there's not going to be a lot of room for the Cowboys to operate.
Let's talk defense now, because I really feel like the defense has been carrying us through this season. Last week, they got embarrassed, and the 49ers really wrecked them. So what do you think that their strategy is going to be tonight? What are you thinking?
They just need to play better. I mean, frankly, they just didn't, perform well. I don't know that it was an X's and O's issue or anything. I just feel like in a season where they have been very successful at getting off blocks and making tackles in the backfield, whether it's sacks or in the run game, it just felt like they really struggled to get off blocks last week. So I think that the Cowboys are facing a similar situation where, as far as an offensive line in the Chargers that has some strength on the left side, but is a little bit weak in the middle and on the right side. So there are some ways for the Cowboys defensive line to specifically exploit that. And they need to do that. If they're going to beat a really good quarterback like Justin Herbert, who might be the best quarterback they face all season, they're going to need to bring him to the ground. And that means taking advantage of the mismatches that they have with their defensive line against the Chargers offensive line.
And let's continue on the Chargers offense here. The Chargers get a big boost today with the return of running back Austin Ekeler. What are your thoughts on that?
Eckler's a really great two-way running back. I mean, he's certainly going to be a boost for their run game, but also in their pass game. I mean, we saw last week the 49ers were able to dump it off to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey was able to make big plays at times with some of those dump offs that should have just been short passes. And Ekeler has that same sort of ability. He can take the ball in a short pass and break it up the field. I think it will be a huge boost for their run game, but one thing that it's actually going to be an enormous boost for is their pass protection. Last week, they gave up 6 sacks to Khalil Mack, and a lot of that has to do with protection on the offensive line, but also protection from the running backs. It'll be a big boost there, so it'll help potentially keep Micah Parsons off of Justin Herbert.
Let's switch to the sidelines now and talk about coaching. So the Cowboys face their former offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, now calling plays for LA. How do you think that's going to work out for them?
I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting. The cat and mouse aspect of Kellen Moore going against Dan Quinn is going to be a huge part of this game. Obviously, Kellen is going to want to show out against his former team. That's just usually how things work in the NFL, right? I think we'll see a very similar looking offense on the Chargers side that we have in previous years. Some of the issues that the Kellen had at different points, though, was finishing games and making adjustments. So it'll be really interesting to see, especially how the second half plays out after the two teams have kind of felt each other out a little bit. How do the adjustments get made in the second half to kind of finish the game? That's where I think the X's and O's are really going to shine.
All right, Landon, you got predictions for tonight? What are your numbers?
The Cowboys rarely lose 2 games, and I don't think they've lost 2 games in a row since Mike McCarthy's been the head coach. I have a queasy feeling about this game because of what happened last week with the 49ers, but I think I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win. But I think it's going to be a close one. The Cowboys have not played a close game so far this season. It's been blowouts either way, and they're 3 wins and 2 losses. So I'm going to pick them to win a close one. Let's say 24-21 with a last-minute field goal.
All right, Landon McCool there. Thank you. And you can catch Landon with new episodes of the Locked On Cowboys podcast every day. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.